under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to the Texas. One state, under God, one and indivisible.
Lord, thank you for this time we can come together, watch over our meeting, and just help us make the right decisions, and watch over our county, and be with us in all we do, Lord. We thank you for all your blessings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Item number 4, public hearing year 2025-2026 budget. We have, I guess I'm in that 6th August, and we voted to set proposed rate, set these hearing dates and so forth, and we're here in connection with that. What tried in an effort to be transparent, the court wanted me to go on above and beyond, so we posted it at every single, all the municipalities in the county and at each of the precinct offices, we put it on the doors of the courthouse. Anyway, trying to get it out there best we could. It's on the website. So anyway, here we are. So I've got a few things I want to state about the budget. Proposed budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $756,582 or 4.4%. And of that amount, $364.46 is tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll this year. The current tax rate that was adopted last year about this time was a tax rate for 2024-2025 of 0.50776. A tax rate of 0.48291 per $100 valuation has been proposed by the governing body of San Jacinto County. The proposed 2025-2026 tax rate, as I said, is 0.48291 per $100. The no new revenue tax for 2025 is 2026 tax rate. Now that's the rate that we would have if we didn't want to have not one penny over than what we had last year. The same exact amount is 0.46324 per $1 million. And then the voter approval rate for 2025-2026 tax rate, also informally known as the rollback rate, is 0.48291 per $100 valuation. The no new revenue tax rate is the tax rate for the 2025 tax year that will raise the same amount of property tax revenue from San Jacinto County from the same properties in both the 2024 tax year and the 2025 tax year. The voter approval rate is the highest rate that San Jacinto County may adopt without holding an election to seek voter approval of the rate. The proposed tax rate is greater than the no new revenue tax rate. This means San Jacinto County is proposing to increase property taxes for the 2025 tax year. That means although we are lowering the rate by 2 points, we are definitely one of the biggest rate reductions we've ever had since since '98, since I've been preparing budgets. Because value went up so much, we're still going to get more revenue. If we didn't get more revenue, you couldn't do raises, you couldn't keep up with the rising costs of gasoline, materials. I don't know anything that's going down in price around here. Perhaps, I do remember back in the day, it used to cost $4,000 or $5,000 for a big screen TV. Now you buy one of them for $300 or $400.
I guess big screen TVs,
Yeah, we were just strictly dealing with them. We could keep all over and buy more TVs. Anyway, proposed tax rate is not greater than the voter approval tax rate. As a result, San Jacinto County is not required to hold an election for which voters may accept or reject the proposed tax rate. And members of the public are encouraged to attend these hearings and express their views. Let me see. I'm looking at the notice that was put in the paper. Pretty much this year I put a lot of this language in this notice that was posted. I could have. I'm going to go over it as well, and some of it may be redundant, but I want to make sure I don't miss anything that was required to be said. All right, notice of public hearing on tax rate. I'm sorry? A tax rate of 0.48291 for a $100 valuation has been proposed by the governing body of San Jacinto County. Proposed tax rate 0.48291 for 100. No new revenue tax rate 0.46324 for a $100 valuation. Voter approval rate, aka rollback rate, 0.48291 for 100. The no new revenue tax rate is the tax rate for the 2025 tax year that will raise the same amount of property tax revenue for San Jacinto County for the same properties in both the 2024 tax year and the 2025 tax year. The voter approval rate is the highest tax rate that San Jacinto County may adopt without holding an election, aka a rollback election, to seek voter approval of the rate. The proposed tax rate is greater than the no new revenue tax rate. This means San Jacinto County is going to increase property taxes for the 2025 tax year. We're not increasing the rate, but we are, because of the values went up, we'll end up with a little more revenue. A public hearing on the proposed tax rate will be held August 27, 2025 at 9 a.m. at San Jacinto County Shelter, 255 Line Oak Street, Cold Springs, Texas. And here we are. The proposed tax rate, again, is not greater than the voter approval tax rate. As a result, San Jacinto County is not required to hold an election at which voters may accept or reject the proposed tax rate. However, you may express your support or opposition to the proposed tax rate by contacting the members of San Jacinto County at their offices or by attending the public hearing. Your taxes owed under any of the tax rates mentioned above can be calculated as follows. Property tax amount equals tax rate times taxable value of your property divided by 100. Voting for the proposal, Fritz Faulkner, Donnie Barnes, Mark Natuno, Luke Sweeney, Crystal Downey. Voting against the proposal to set the proposed rate, none. Present and not voting, none. Absent, none. then we also put in the notice, visit propertytax.gov/property/taxes. Find a link to your local property tax database on which you can easily access information regarding your property taxes, including information about proposed tax rates and scheduled public hearings of each entity that taxes your property. The 86th legislature modified the manner in which the voter approval rate is calculated to limit the rate of growth of property taxes in the state. They sure did. They put a cap on it. If you value goes up, you have to lower your rate. Well, unless you want to have a drawback to it. The following table compares the taxes imposed on the average resident's own homestead by San Jacinto County last year to the taxes proposed to be imposed on the average resident's homestead by San Jacinto County this year. Total tax rate 2024 0.50776. 2025 0.48291. Change, decrease of 0.02485. It's almost 2.5 points, or 4.89%. Average homestead value in 172,404. 2025, $187,830. Increase in value of 8.95%. Tax on average homestead, 2024, $875.40. That's that. I paid like $52. Wow. 2025, $907.05, an increase $31.65 or 3.62%. Total tax levy on all properties, $14,439,122. 2025, $15,264,856, an increase of $825,734 or 5.72%. No new revenue, maintenance, and operations rate adjustments. Indigent defense compensation expenditures. San Jacinto County spent $335,608 from July 1st, 2024 to July 30th, 2025 to provide appointed counsel for indigent individuals in criminal or civil proceedings in accordance with the schedule of fees adopted under Article 2605 Code of Criminal Procedure, and to fund the operations of the Public Defender's Office under 26044 Code of Criminal Procedure, less the amount of any state grants received. For the current tax year, the amount of increase above last year's defense compensation expenditures is $176,899. This increased the no new revenue maintenance and operations rate by 0.00025 divided by 100. For assistance with tax calculations, please contact the lovely and delightful tax collector, Ms. Betty Davis. For San Jacinto County, it's 936-653-3292, or visit that's wrong. Y'all still use www.san-jacinto.txus?
Is that your website?
No.
That's the county website.
Well, that is
That's the county website.
what the settlements, I'll put that on. Strike Write the record, that is the correct website. I thought that was an email address. It's not an email address, so that's good. Let's see. A lot of times, the next thing I go into is various debts that we have coming out of this and that. And when I talk about, like last year, for instance, initially we didn't put a raise in the raise is usually what keeps us up at night, and we're trying to work on it and see if we can sometimes give our employees a raise. And this year I took a different approach. Put the raise in there. Then in fact, if we work it all throughout and it turns out I don't think we can do one, then I guess we have to throw it out. So we raised $1,000 across the board. We don't, I ain't saying since '98 I've never seen a percentage raise, but you count it on, what do you say, Commissioner Untitled, maybe one hand the times we've done percentage. We always do it where everybody gets the same, because if you do percentage, the ones at the upper echelon, they get a big raise, and the ones on the lower don't get much at all. So that's just not fair. There's not a person on the board that wants to be unfair with our employees. I'm going to try to, I thought I had a little list, but anyway. There is an addition of an employee in my proposed budget in the tax office. In the animal control department, the sheriff's wife has worked very hard as a volunteer, and he asked to lower the main salary and put 2 full-times at a much lower rate, and that's in the proposed anybody know animal control? Yeah, I have it here. I'm just looking at what number that is. Okay. Animal control. Some days I can just start them off, some days I can't. So you took the deputy over with 49 and changed 2 positions to 30,000. That's right. That's right. And we talked about that in budget workshop, which was done before we thought. But anyway, that's what's in the proposed. We also, let me think, elections has a part-time that gets, I don't know, 30-something hours. We bumped that up to a full-time position, and then we took a bunch of the part-time money out and made that full-time. And that was in response to, last year, we had an election contest, and the lawsuits followed that created a huge demand on the elections department. The lawyers were sending what's known as requests for discovery, and they want copies, and thousands of pages. I mean, they worked for months trying to, they had to go pull all that stuff, print it all out, and then you couldn't leave their, what do you call it, critical information in there. They had to redact certain things, and so that's kind of the justification. We hope that never happens again. But anyway, that's in the proposed budget. You had a road fund in there, didn't you? Someone built it, yeah. Just curious. We bought a building last year with ARPA funds. Not that one, you had a different one. And I put a line in there to about 100,000 to, it not necessarily have to go all of that building, but with that in mind, to try to bring that up to standard. You know, if we don't go there, we'll use what they ought to do with that. Figure it up a little more. Personally, I just think eventually build a law enforcement building over there on this. That's what we bought this land for, was to do some of that. You can't do it all once. We've got to take it, we may be able to, when we get in the final hearing date, I'm gonna lobby for that, if y'all want to have that in there. If not, at least we'll have it out there, and we can, I welcome everybody's input on that. This is true. I don't think I could. Another employee of the treasurer. Yeah. Part-time, full-time. You went from part-time? Yes, I did. I sure did. That's right. The lady who primarily does the, well, not primarily, but she made a big impact. We did speak on the collection of these Airbnb sales taxes and stuff. Our collections went in here way up. So anyway, that was a big justification in my trust. So yeah, that's right. You're right. What's that? That's 409. Everybody's got the capital outlay, so it's ranked up. All I'm trying to do is point out the high points. Yeah. So it might answer some of the public's questions, but if there's something else that what y'all consider a biggie, I think that's about all of it. Yeah, treasurer, voter, tax office, animal control. Those are people. Well, I think the tax office, we have people coming, raising cash about it. Services not being offered. I think we didn't take a vote or nothing, but I didn't hear anybody saying that wasn't a good idea. So anyway, I put it in. It ain't just what I'm going to do. I try to figure out what everybody wants and put it in there. I miss it both a lot. Yeah. Well, this ain't too bad. I've thrown some more to build out an office out there, help move the constable out there and give you a little more space down there. Because everybody else seems to have their constables and their JPs living at that precinct. So it'd be nice if you do that. Yeah, I'll put some building funds in there to be able to get an office out there. Yeah, that's good. Listen, what was, you tell me about that before I found the so just so you understand how this works. That's what you made. You think it is? Yeah, now this is, did you do it before? Well, let's go to yours and see. Throwing it out there, trying to put 20 in there, didn't you? Well, this is your first budget. I'm trying to make sure that you're on the same page as what you put in there. I'm going to finish this out. I like that. 56. Okay. I'll tell you the rest of that in the white. Yeah, it's 0021. If they all read it. Yeah, too. Yeah, I just try and create some room down there so they can have more space for another employee where she's got a nice night or so. You can do that. Hey, where did you, what was yours? 0520, the capital outlay building. Oh, sale outlays, no. Is it? Yep. Generators, those times 2 1. I got the truck. I'm pretty excited if I got it on the capital outlay building process for 56. Yeah, we can just talk about it. You didn't put it in the closed version. Just because you're not talking to the owner, don't mean it's in the closed version.
I got some changes I wanted to see that were in the.
So, what you're gonna have to do, we're gonna approve for this budget, and then plus the changes that get voted on at the last hearing. Don't just sit up there and think, well, I done told Marty about it's in there. If it don't get put on the record, then it don't. It don't happen. It's not some kind of trick deal, but.
So as long as we put it on there.
For 27 years, commissioners have gone to search auditors and talking about it, they leave me out in the loop, and they don't bring it up in the hearing, that never happened. That's just the way the process is.
No, I know we'll get trying to make sure we let her see that for deadline.
If I had been Margie's out, she said, vintage busty, I don't, that's why she's not here for us. So, let me stop right here for this thing. I went out of town over the weekend, and when I got back home, we had a rough week this past week. We lost Noah Gladden, long-time resident of the county. Vernon Lilly passed away. He was our tax collector for many years back in the day. Leader in the community. His funeral, by the way, will be Saturday at 10 a.m. at Evergreen Baptist Church. The Axis Reisner, a long-time member of the community from Evergreen. She passed away. Her services are Saturday. Cody, O.C. Green lost his son, Cody Green, but he's probably 35 years old, died in the street from a heart attack. Old Woodrow, 21 years old, lost his wife. His mama is Anna Dr. Steele. Right here? The Woodruff right here? Yeah, the thing, what they did. Gil Woodruff, is that grandson? Yeah, that's his grandson. Wow. Yeah, Miss Merle Dabney was our, Merle Dabney's husband, Leroy, taught the older ones around here, and Matt back at Cold Springs High School. Betty, do you have Leroy? She was the postmaster for many, many years. She died at the young age of, I think, 102 years old. Oh, wow. Tom Davis, well, oh, yeah, Tom Davis. Yeah. So, rough week, but anyway. If we all drink to 102, I guess you're not doing too bad.
The same that one congregation members over here, 101, and she passed them 2 weeks ago. Same thing, and she's more strong.
And one other thing, a public note, I was on a couple of days ago, our U.S. Congressman Morgan Luttrell was in town and visited a little bit. One thing I took away from the meeting that I wasn't happy about is the state has, I think they're redistricting yet again, and he will not be our congressman after 2027. He's District 8, and we're going to be wedged in the very corner of District 10, which starts over there in Austin. They did that with our state senator, and now it's happening with our U.S. senator.
I remember asking us anything like Schwartz.
He's our state guy, but Morgan Luttrell's our U.S. and he said the new guy's name's McCall or something like that. He's from Willis, Texas. He's been in here in the county many times. He's approachable. He works hard. He's still going to be working for the state of Texas and the U.S. America, but we won't have it. We don't have it as our representative. So anyway, when you get anything, you look at what's in there, because anything that you change, you just need to make sure we put it on the record. So
If I was hitting the deadlines, every time she'd ask for something to change it, and I'd send it into her, but exactly wasn't getting all that.
But as long as we
I
bring
found this on, anything you told her about after August 6th,
And, okay, that's all.
gotcha.
Just wanted to let you know that. Trying to clear out some space for you down there. You want to find Donnie down there.
It was Donnie's out there, don't you say?
Oh, yeah, he was talking to me about it, you know. He was guilting me into that.
Hey,
Let's see. Here, let me mention something about your budget.
Mine, Sweeney?
Commissioner Sweeney.
The new guy on the end.
Well, let's talk about your revenue line. So the last couple of years, the predecessor in 22-23 took $462,000 plus out of his fund balance to put into his regular budget. Now, whether he spent any of it, I couldn't say. The next year, he put $500,000 out of his fund balance to put in his budget so he could spend it to fix roads or whatever. But the year he was on his way out, he had the auditor put $45,000. It's kind of been a bit of a hamstring to you during this year, but you got down, what do you Marines do? Y'all are down to
Not a Marine, I'm Army guy, yeah, we were that over there.
well, sorry, I didn't hear you. So, in order to make up for that, I put in there $1 million. Well, but you need, that doesn't mean you're going to spend it.
No,
It's there if you need it. If you decide you want to pay McCoppin Boulevard over here and put current gutters on it, you have the money to do it. It's just how that affects the balance, you see.
I'm ready.
You're
Down the other end, he wanted his driver, yeah, come on.
Anyway, here's the only one that had needed to have a big swing, and I know full well, he probably could have related that to the little bank by saying, if you want a good office in your building, you can use that money to do that.
Let me tell you, I wanted to be on the line all of it, and says this is exactly what I'm gonna do with that.
Well, that's what the better effort to be, at least it's in there. Yeah, no, we're good. So, it constitutes no harm. I'm a firm believer in at least putting it out there. It's like going on a trip and leaving your money at the house.
Yeah.
The credit card. You put it in the safe in the hotel. You ain't got to go in there, but if you had to, you could do it.
I mean, down your lot there.
Yeah, not too much. So, after, those are kind of the high points of the budget. I'm going to turn the floor over to the members of the public. Anybody that wants to make any comments or tell us what we need to do to change and what we should have, or just tell us what a good job we've done so far working on it, or anything like that. Mr. McCoppin, anything you got to say?
Yes, sir, Judge.
That's all I believe.
That's all.
Well, in response to your comments last year, that's why I put the raises in there this time instead of doing it the way we had done it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your, I listen every once in a while.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. Overall, I think it's a pretty fair budget, and my biggest comment about it was, I don't know if it's in this one, but I got a copy of the notice for this meeting. I think I got it off the internet, off the website.
We tried to put it as many places as we could.
Yes, sir. And it was on, I mean, it's actually on the link on the front of it, so front page would be.
Well, it had gotten put up there, and we told them to make sure it goes to the front page. Now, I can't swear that the first day it was there. I'm glad you found it on the front page like it's supposed to be.
Yes, sir, it's supposed to be, and I was hoping for a bigger turnout, but that's not the case. My biggest comment was that notice, it had like a couple of, I guess, supplemental pages. I don't know exactly where this came from, but I think may come from our tax collector, Ms. Davis.
Was the third page of that start out, notice about 25 taxes, I'll get on there. I didn't read that page, by the way, when I read the first two pages.
Huh?
That's prescribed by the comptroller. It's 5212.
Okay. So this is one of these, I think it's new since I was county commissioner, but it's quite informative, don't get me wrong, and appreciate all the effort. But in there, it has what the unencumbered fund balance was for the general fund, I proposed it was. And it says that the unencumbered fund balance is $7,550,000 roughly.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, and I know that, that's kind of a moving target sometimes.
It definitely is.
It's about the only way you can really get a real positive number on that is when the books have all been frozen and you had the auditor, external auditor look at them and all that kind of stuff. You get a final number on it. But I would say that number is pretty darn close. And then it's listed on here as being farm to market / flood control fund unencumbered fund balance. And I went and looked, and I basically was able to find out that
They call it farm to market.
yeah, they do. Yeah, that's what it's labeled here. But that's the road and bridge fund balance, and they list that at $2,842,450. And my only comment on that is I've worked and had a pretty good sized company, probably a larger budget than what the county has in my company. But we never had that kind of fund balance, but most, I must say, accountants and people will tell you need about 3 months of running, whatever it takes you to operate.
I heard them say 2 and up to 4. The guy last time was
different numbers.
he not even over 4, and I thought, wow.
I just did a real quick calculation on that and just rough. And I kind of went, well, the $7.5 million is roughly 8 months run time. So, yeah.
Maybe we don't work on some of it this year.
Yeah, but, we still, as a county, there's some still big needs out there, different things. I know y'all have had intentions of doing some stuff in the courthouse, and an old friend of mine called me a while back, wanted to have some, his name's Carl Komatsu. He's an architect that does historical restorations. And
We have he did our plan book in
Yes, sir.
98, and it's still pending, and we did vote to move forward. And you've got some good contact information on him?
Yes, sir, I have this person.
We need to, yes, I need to follow up with him, but
He contacted me the other day saying that, it looks like the legislature is passing some stuff that we might qualify for. So.
I'd like to get that information from you, because we actually met and voted to move forward.
I'll give you his personal phone number.
Yes, sir, you should. I remember he's a Korean fellow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, has an architectural firm. he's a little bit older than I am, but he's still going, still working. Anyway, my comment on that is just my personal opinion. I really would like to say that I think we need to make sure we preserve our courthouse.
Oh, sure.
So, I have some personal opinions about it and stuff, but that's my recommendation. Maybe I really do.
So, while you're on that subject, you can talk as long as you ain't running over meters. October, I'm getting us all in here. The grand total for all, 16,969,748. That's road and bridge. That's what's on this. It's certified total. Might be taking something out, but if that's the total number, right there by 12. And then I'll multiply it by 5 times 5 equals $7,070,728. Well, are you just basing it off our tax money? Because we got, you have to actually base it on.
You have to actually combine your total tax rate is for road and bridge and everything. So you have to combine the 7.5 million and the 2.8 million.
I got you. You did what you said. I went there and didn't have to. You weren't there last week when they presented outside audits last year?
I did. I was there.
Then you probably should have moved. Yes. Quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The wrong figures.
It has gone up quite a bit. You track it.
I know. I'm glad we have what I consider a healthy fund balance.
Absolutely.
When Pearl came through and blew the roof off, the insurance company, the bill was 500-something thousand, and the insurance company, I think they settled on fairness 19,000, because they wanted to. Well, I guarantee you, they wanted to patch the roof. I guarantee you, it would cost us $1 million by the time it's set down. Oh, yeah. Consider all those. Well, let's just talk about the Fund 79 while we're here. We spent right at $2 million. Road and Bridges spent about $2 million out of Fund 79. Fund 79 is which is the foreign, comes out of fund balance basically. And if we didn't have that sitting there, we would have been hamstrung. Yeah. So with all that said, we've gotten over $2 million of balance. We're on about $340,000 out of fund balance to make that whole. So we just did a good job getting most of that done, all 75%. But if we didn't have that, we would have been messed up. Yeah, that's right. $2 million in an accident. That's been something. And it just, so it's a good thing to have. And I understand what you're saying, but yeah, it's a good deal. Like you said, the roof, we spent right there $500,000 and then $2 million right there, all in the same $2.5 million right there. Yeah, $500,000. That's really good. I can recall way back under, like when I first got involved, County Code around 98. I think the year before, or even they were worried about making payroll. We didn't have hardly any fund balance. They had been the practice for a period of time. They were estimating revenues at 85%. Just like the balance sheet. You can't estimate revenues of more than you conceivably can collect. The reason we got a good fund balance, I've been blessed with a lot of good conservative commissioners, and some of them years we'd estimate revenue at 93, 94, collect a little more. You were part of some of that. Yeah, put some of it there, and I appreciate it. Go back to the meeting. I think you and me and Don were sitting at a restaurant in Austin at a conference one year, and we talked about that fund balance. and we talked about, we want to do something, we don't want to use that to cut the tax rate. We want to do that to fix the courthouse or add on to the jail or something that we normally couldn't do that way. It's kind of like, you know, in our opinion, we want to do something that we normally couldn't do. So, maybe a plan out there about the courthouse.
Well, since we're talking about how we're going to use money, and I'm going to throw something out there, so it ain't in this thing out here, but it worked for me. I would not be opposed to, with a high fund balance, taking a certain amount out of there and trying to build like law enforcement building over there. I ain't talking about no $5 million, I've been engineers going with. But if it was under $1 million, something, whatever it takes to build maybe 4,000 or 5,000 square foot building, that's my thinking. I'm just throwing that out there. As a member of the public, what would you, how would you,
I think building, I'm going to say, at some point, our courthouse, just purely my opinion, at some point, our courthouse can need restoration, and that's going to require office space somewhere else other than the courthouse.
yeah, well, there you go.
And there you go. So I'm not opposed to doing that at all. I think that's a good move. I mean, I've seen other counties, they right there in Polk County, they moved out of their courthouse pretty much.
All that
They took over the whole hospital and a bunch of different things.
those furniture stores.
Yeah, furniture stores. Anyway, so not opposed to
I consider you of a conservative nature, but if that doesn't give you heartburn, we still got to look towards the future.
It doesn't give me heartburn at all. And I mean, I'm going to say that my crystal ball is pretty well broken, but in some places. But anyway, it's something to consider. I've had different thoughts, but y'all purchased the property over here. It looks like that's a good place to do something.
For the record, remind everybody and anybody that might listen to what is being said that when we added on to the jail those 2 times, we were done so that we were told we had to do that, and we did have to do it by the jail commission. We didn't add not one single square foot of office space, so all we did was add jail cells because the driving force behind it to pay for it was we'll build it bigger than we actually need for our own and rent the beds out. And that's worked out pretty good. It helped us make these payments. So, but now it was I won't say any error in judgment not to add some office space, but when there's how many officers we got all trying to squeeze into one of those small, y'all been in this small thing? I mean, don't we have that inbound building out there we're supposed to have? It's been plumbed in there to have, I mean, not talking about big houses and stuff. We need some things here. Since that happened, then we changed direction and bought this land here. I showed you the master plan. Yeah, I did get to see it the other day. That's my plan. I'm just saying relieve some of the pressure. Our girls are here. Our girls are here. Our girls are right here. Yeah, well, we also bought that little building here, and we put some money to fix that. I realized rehabbing and putting a lot of money into a 90-year-old building might not be the best thing in the world to do. I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, but it's a spot it's an option. We have options. And that's good to have.
I think the historical commission is working on the grant for the courthouse too. I think Bill Edwards.
I gave Rebecca Hammond Carl Komatsu's number.
Yeah.
Well, I think probably, either one probably could be the applicant, but since we own the building.
Yeah.
It's something that would be a joint effort. I remember when they redid my mother and Miss Trapp, when they got a grant, that's one of the first big grants I can ever remember the county get back in the 70s or 80s, in the 80s.
There's some stuff that's in the courthouse that I would hate to see go away, and most people don't recognize it, but I recognize it. And Carl Komatsu used to tell me about it. Historically, architects were always, they like to see it, and that is there's certain places in the courthouse where a lot of the woodwork has been modernized, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And we've lost some of it, but there's certain places that there's still some of the original longleaf yellow pine trim and stuff. It really needs to be preserved. So it just doesn't, that stuff doesn't, exist anymore.
Yeah.
So I would say, and y'all are kind of the custodians of the courthouse, need to be a little bit careful in the courthouse if you're going to do any kind of remodeling and stuff. Unfortunately, I'm going to say a while back, not to say anything bad about anybody, but so there was been some offices that were
we don't manage, but there was quite a bit of
anyway. But up above your office right now, if you go up in the attic there, it's really cool to look at because it's got the old.
I was up there about a year ago. There was I think there was a possum there. I did go up there, but I was more looking for cigars and that stench. But I need to take another look at what you're talking about.
I mean, you can see some of the original colors and stuff up there when they lowered the ceiling.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to look at. Anyway, that's my only comment, Judge. And
no major sources of heartburn with what we got.
No, not really, Judge. I mean, I'm over 65, and I've been advocating. You probably remember it. You were here. And I think Mark was here. Ronnie was here.
I crossed that threshold last year myself.
And anyway, a couple of years ago, a lady came up here, and she was from Shepherd, and she wasn't really complaining or anything, but she thought her taxes were froze, and they were froze. But there is a thing where some of the taxing entities, the tax freeze is optional. It's not mandated. The school taxes, it's a mandatory thing that they freeze the taxes at over 65. I think the county and the other special taxing entities, it's an optional thing. And the ESD has never passed that. So her taxes were going up like, I don't know, it wasn't a whole lot of money, but it was a lot of money to her. It was less than $100, but they were going up. And I don't know if y'all looked at it, I'm in the same boat. It used to be, ESD taxes were less than $100, now they're $300 something. But partly because
they're trying
at 10 cents. It's called the minimus too.
I guess they're not bound by they don't get caught up in the rollback thing apparently because they don't have to go down like we do every time.
Yes, sir. That's true. It's because they're considered de minimis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's where they're kept at 10 cents on the 100. So anyway, I did go to them at their hearing Monday, and
I believe we're capped at 80 general fund, and road bridge is capped at like 15.
yeah, something like that.
We're going further away from 80.
But anyway, I asked them about it, and they gave me an answer that, because I'd asked a couple of the board members about it a year or two ago, and simply because I was trying to advocate for this other people that are over 65 that were caught up in that, and anyway, and that money doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I'm not going to say I'm completely financially independent, but I'm well enough off that amount of money doesn't bother me.
It ain't gonna make the lights go off.
And it's not going to make the lights go off, no sir. But there are some people out there in our county that amount of money is meaningful to them.
Yes.
And so I've been advocating for them, and I've asked several board members about it. And the answer I got the other day was that they had asked their attorney about it, Mr. Pillard, and he said there was no provision in 775, which is the health and safety code with ESD. So I did a little research on my own, and I'm not an attorney, but, you know, and come find out from what research I found is, yes, they can actually do that, and because they come as a special taxing entity, and special taxing entities can grant an over 65 exemption. So far, they haven't made any motions or moves on that, but that's okay. Maybe they'll do it at some point in the future. But I did also find a newspaper article where Wise County in April of 2025 did that exact same thing. They gave one of the, it was ESD number 3, I think it was, and Wise County did a freeze on over 65. So I know it's perfectly legal to do that. It's just getting them to kind of move off center and do that resolution.
You know how to get that done? You know how to get that done?
No, sir.
I think in January, somebody at the end of the table is going to appoint somebody. And you need to be able to say you won't do that.
Okay.
You live in precinct 1. You live in precinct 1.
Yes, I did. Anyway, so that's all the comments I have, Judge, and appreciate everything y'all do, and I think you're doing pretty fine job.
Thank you. You sure you ain't got no more personal?
No more for Crystal? No.
I'm leaving to go on vacation.
As soon as this is over. You be back on the circuit. Yeah. So we take the last break before we go to make Judge. I had a couple of things I wanted to just talk about in the upcoming budget. Sure. One, I want to see, and this is for discuss, but I'm just telling the public and the court, the inmate housing be increased for our revenue. That's something y'all want to be looking at that. And have you looked at how many inmates he's got over? He ain't got to about 7 or 8. Yeah, we only got 240,000 there, which is pretty low. They're not putting that many in there. We have they are working the streets and putting active. They're gonna fill it up. They're gonna fill it up with, and that's good. But that's why I did that. So I don't put some big giant number. If they put 60 in there, we've had enough space to have 60 in it. We've had times where we did have 60. That's $1.5 million. But I think we got less than 20 in there. I think we put, what are you doing? When I'm putting these crackheads in jail or whatever it is. I've got a lot of
people commented about what a good job they're doing, but a lot of their own presence. So anyway, just bear that in mind.
All right, so yeah, just a few notes that I made in the road buildings. The 100,000, I think we've talked about that today a little bit, so that's something else that's in here. But the overtime pay in there for tests, something that I'm pretty sure we all agree we're not paying overtime, so that probably come out in the future.
What number is that? Because I was
talking about that, so I'm not exactly but you know, I think we did that so that they could keep jailers, you know, and then we gave them a raise, and the raise was supposed to help with that, and now still giving them overtime pay, and we cut that out. We voted in here.
We're driving towards trying to give lower the rate even more.
Sure.
Give the citizens
I'm just seeing some stuff that I've seen that I thought probably need to be cut out. Another thing on the extension is here, to Travis' job, and we talked about this in one of our meetings. I'd like to see personally travel move into your salary so that we don't have to do a line item to pay your travel every time you go somewhere. You'll already have it prepaid coming to you. Professional services, I think.
What you're thinking on that, young lady? I guess it depends on what the number is.
Yes, sir. Because once it moves from salary, I'm paying taxes on that. And so it would have to.
Let me give you a little pointer though.
Sir?
If it goes into your salary, you'll also be getting retirement benefits.
We don't pay every time, but it is matched by.
Eight pays my retirement, but my retirement is not included in the one, because it'll be included from salary.
And then maybe you wouldn't, that would be a benefit to you.
Well, it would be a benefit to us and our department for not having to process those travel checks every week, every month, whatever. But anyway, yeah, I think personally, I put up to increase it just like ours is, 18,000. So that way you cover everything you're doing today. That's my opinion. Professional services, we need to add 5,000 to help. I think I'll talk to the outside auditor about that.
Professional services. You're talking about in 409?
I'm just telling some highlights that I'm going to shoot forward. We have to have the audit done on our retirement insurance account.
Yes.
They have to prorate that because
That's what the auditor said they had to do, spend $16,000.
it's not 5,000.
The number I heard was $16,000.
Well, I don't think it's quite that much. But anyway,
I just said put $16,000 more in that fund to pay them, tell us what.
I'm all for that too. We want to try and see what happens. But one of the other things is the notice reports for road and bridge. I think we've all got a new thing.
That's going to dry up.
Yes, it is, but we've got fund balance, so I think we all want to add every bit of our fund balance in there so we can spend it, instead of sit this side. And the big,
You keep notes of that, because
well, I am, and I'm just making some highlights of the public understands what I'm trying to look at. And then we talked about taking 1% from road and bridge, from general fund and adding the road and bridge. And I think,
we talked about it.
yeah, I think we talked about it. There's only the meeting when we talked about it, so it was a meeting. So anyway.
Why would you want to take, you got healthy fund balances, why would you want to take something out of our thing when you already got a full? I'll offer him doing something like that, because he ain't got no fund balance. His fund balance.
So you should have ready to criticize us for having a big, and we, this court's the one that helped you get $9.5 million fund balance. So look, let me finish. Harvey was 8 years ago, and we got funded $14 million to fix the road 8 years ago, and we're sitting on it today. Still waiting to have that done. And those projected figures, not 8 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, we are not, I guarantee you, we are not going to have the money to fund those projects. When they come,
Just like the other year on mouth earlier, you take that Fund 79
That's where you get the money.
You're right.
And that's it. You're right. If you bleed it, you ain't gonna have no discretionary fund to just take whatever you want out of it.
You're right, that's why we had a fund balance, that's kind of why we had a fund balance to do things like that instead of being in the hole. So anyway, it's either we have done it,
I mean, y'all put the money in there every year, but you don't spend it.
that's being fiscal.
Or whatever you want to call it. Taxpayers pay money to road bridge to have the road fixed.
Well, on my fund balance, I know my predecessor had a pretty good one, but on the lead turner rate, I'm having to come out of 200,000.
That's good financial planning if that's what we're doing.
And then Dabney Bottom, Lily Yeager Loop, if I have to do it on Lily Yeager Loop and Dabney Bottom, that's another.
But to take money out of the other fund balance when you got a healthy, what is your big plan to, why are you saving all that money? You got a big project that you
I do it, if I had the money, I could do it, but I don't have that money to do them, Judge.
Me too.
Do you realize, and I'm not saying that the water we truck would take $2.5 million to fix.
Maybe.
Probably more than that.
Maybe.
And it's horrible.
Maybe.
They beat me up every day on fixing on that.
They should have made that up.
I 30 years ago. I tried, I had Reynolds in the truck with me, and I tried to make it good to the state. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, my plans either is to take the percentage away and give us closer to our 15%, which we have talked about. Road bridge back to the.
I said that facetiously, at least I wouldn't have to hear this every time, because,
I mean, do you realize that the general fund is garnishing $700,000 more? You know what the road bridge is garnishing?
and they're
About
budget,
10,000 apiece.
is that what it's all about? Who's getting the
No,
most?
it's about us having to do what we do with less money. We can't do more with
Take
less
some of
money.
that fund balance and fix
And
something.
we have. I think we all have. And we're working on this.
How is it you still got $1 million every year in your fund balance if you're taking that money to
We
spend
don't
it?
have $1 million in our fund balance.
Maybe I misread what the audit said,
I
but
mean,
you had
these two right here, they want to use theirs, just a quick second.
Look, I ain't talking about them because they're not responsible for what's in their fund balance.
But that's not set on the roads. I mean,
I suspect they're gonna make better use of it. That's my prediction.
better use.
Better use, not sitting on it and hollering, look at me, I got $1 million in my fund
Look at
balance.
me, we got $9.5 million in the general fund.
And we have the money to pay $500,000 roof jobs and to do all the fund 79 for all 4 roads.
I get it. So anyway, I'm gonna just get out what I'm gonna say. We need to take the percentage from the general fund tax rate to make up back more 15. My thing is just to transfer $1 million to road bridge, $250,000 for each one. 4 roads only. It can't
Just
be.
take $1 million just because you can.
Yeah.
Take it from your own fund balance.
Help us. Well, don't get upset.
What are you
upset about?
Because you got money and you don't touch your money and you want to take it out of the general fund.
We spend our money every year, Judge. Man,
Y'all have had years, the reason you got a little money built up is because we've had so many grants, y'all don't have time to spend all your budget.
I spend my money right up to the income that I get every year, and that's just how I do it. And all that extra is, maybe I get 20,000 this year extra that I didn't spend,
You put some fund balance in there every year, but you never touch
I put some of it in there. Not all of it, some of it.
it. You don't even touch it though. You put it in there just in case something happens.
I spend what I budget.
You don't spend the money out of the
I
fund
spend
balance.
what I budget. If you look at my budget, if I budget $1.3 million, I spend right up to $1.3 million.
If you had some big project, a bridge blew out or something, and you needed it, but just to take it because you can count to 3 and we're all gonna get more money, we'll just take it from the general fund.
If that's what you see, then that's
what I see.
I don't see it that way. I see it helping our constituents because we get beat up every day about how come you don't fix these roads better? How come you don't do this?
When you take the point out, that's gonna you sat up there and said that, oh, it's only gonna be 100,000, well, that was,
Yeah, that wasn't right. I had some wrong figures given
you
here.
sure did, I'd already done the math, it's more like 350,000. So what do you want me to cut? Who's where am I gonna get that 350?
Oh, we can probably cut it. You probably wouldn't like it, but we can cut it. But I'm gonna tell you right now that I'm just proposing that we take 100,000 out of the general fund balance, and you don't mess with your tax rate this year.
$1 million.
$1 million.
Shut up.
$1 million. Just take $1 million because we've done a good job of managing it, you're just gonna take it. That's about as irresponsible as,
I don't think that's irresponsible.
very irresponsible.
You can't see that. Our job is to fix the roads. And if we can't fix the roads,
When you run out of your fund balance, then let's talk about taking money out of the general
let's not
fund.
worry about my fund balance. Let's worry about
It's my job to worry about your fund balance. You think oh, Jesus.
I'm just telling you what my proposal is gonna be. Well, good if it passes.
My proposal might be that everybody gets 25% too.
What, yes? Next year we'll have $2 million out of fund balance. That's how that works.
You think so? You think the public is gonna approve you raiding the general funds?
I think so. As many
The general fund is responsible for the sheriff's department, everything else in county government.
Yes.
Not just the roads.
The roads.
as many calls as we get. Judge, I don't think you hear or see what the calls we get about the road.
And it's not us country people that are used to
I think we got some raggedy roads out there now, I know that.
Already.
You know, all I'm gonna say on that point is, I sit here every year, and I watch every office get a new employee, or watch a part-time person get moved to full-time. I don't know how many new employees Road, Bridge, and Scotland since I've been here. I don't think, maybe 1 in 15 years.
You best do your homework. There's a cap on there for, when you take the money out of general fund, all you're doing is bypassing the cap.
I know.
And that's against the law.
The cap of what?
The cap of what you can get of taxpayer money. You're capped at 15. Well, I'll just go take it somewhere else. I don't think you could just do that. So you ought to think about that. Just because you cap 3 don't mean you can just take whatever you want and gut the general fund balance.
We're not gutting the general fund. If we gut it, we'd move $2 or $3 million over there. Well, fiscal.
Well, that's probably on the horizon.
No, I don't think that. I mean,
I've never seen this in 27 years. I've never seen anybody come up with such a scheme.
come on. We've got $100,000.
You didn't have $1 million in your fund balance, I could
I don't have $1
understand.
million.
You got close to $1 million.
No.
Well, this 1 mile is 330,000 to pave, so we got 150 something terrible roads, so $1 million doesn't go very far.
Whatever you think you can do.
I'm just telling you what I had planned to do, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I mean, I'm not upset if it doesn't. I mean, we got to do something different. What we've got now is not working.
I talked
Spend your
to,
money and then talk about taking money.
I talked to the state guy the other day, and one was telling me the future growth of San Jacinto County in the next 7 to 10 years is 100,000 more people. Exactly what he told me.
If they all move here and build houses, we'll have a lot more tax revenue.
Christian will have probably 30,000 already. Yeah, but something, a big subdivision. You figure 4-12 household. Yeah. That's what you think, 4-12 household. We go for a vote.
When's the last time we did
We
it?
won't tell them over there.
Have we ever asked county no?
I've been doing this for 27 years. We've never done one in 27 years.
Anyways,
So anyway, that's the big ones that I'm looking for. Talk about anyway.
I did bring Joe Tums today.
What?
I didn't bring judges.
Stood up there and just, well, I count three, I talked to these new commissioners, Ray, the general fund.
Attitude is count to three. It's not got anything.
I know how it works. I know
How it works too, but we've never counted three and crammed something to anybody's cover.
Oh, that's a tall face, you know what?
General consensus that we need more money to do what we need to do.
That's a complete falsehood. Y'all never counted to three and stood up here. And 3 years ago you did.
All right.
You don't, yeah, you come in here with a notebook, and, yeah, we're gonna do this, this, and this. I don't even want to go there. Go ahead, you got the.
Oh, that's my highlights. I got no figure, that's it. I mean,
Appreciate the warning. Anybody else from the public got anything else to say about budget, proposed budget of the tax rate? All right.
If y'all do change that office, are y'all gonna remodel the lobby to where it's a lobby?
Don't mind.
Yeah.
Working on it. I'm trying to, not lose my shop or anything there. I think we've got some room out there to be able to bring, and I talked to Raylan, and she was good with it too, so there's no issue there.
Because it is bad. I mean, we have people pile up and we can't cut it off. Because we have to go all the way around to get to the people.
You're a half mile from the courthouse, you want the tax office to have a sub-office in your.
No, I'm moving the constable's in her front office, right there, is that there, right where you walk in, she's on the right-hand side where Neil used to be, for the environmental guy. So I just try to open space, because I can bring her out with me, both of them. Well, I was gonna work on it, man, that courthouse, isn't it?
When you come in the tax office,
she's pretty happy right there.
and so people have to come around the wall. Well, they don't want to come around the wall, they want to stand on the other side of the wall. And nobody can see the weight on them. So, and tax season, they're lined out the door, down the street.
Whatever you got on, Joe, I'm just gonna move her out with me and remodel and put her out there.
Yeah, I'm just saying that you just move her and then nothing's done, it ain't gonna help you.
Yeah.
We've gotta do something.
Get everything to them, remodel it. But the JP, it takes a little more space out there, I don't know what, I can do something, now go ahead.
Go ahead. So, just one comment, and I'm going to say, I was a county commissioner, and I understand, but also see the judge's point when he talks about road and bridge, and the special road and bridge fund, I think, are capped by law. And going around that, I could see that could be to build roads could be
There's a reason why you don't do that.
That's part of the, it's part of the whole thing. But at the same time, I also see that how many roads in our county have been county roads have been turned over as part of market roads. I hadn't seen not many. So
Russell had a couple of them that run through his place up from your end of the county. That's the last ones I've heard of.
But you understand that maybe that's a place to go push on some buttons, is to say, well, the state, we're capped. The state needs to take over some of these, I don't know, roads. You probably, y'all have more ideas of what roads might be eligible or would be pointing that way. I mean, that's just my opinion. Okay, so I see both sides of the argument, and I don't want to put myself in the middle of the argument necessarily, but I will tell you when I was county commissioner, I did take some money from the general fund at one time, maybe two. But anyway, I think, and this is purely just me, I don't believe in government having huge amount of funds that they're stashing away and drawing interest on, either.
What if we were trying to save up to implement some of the plans that we made
15 years ago, we talked about it.
Yes, sir.
When we had it on, there was also, well, to this, you were part of it, both of y'all were here. Now we finally got some land and we got the money to build some of those other buildings. There was a juvenile center in one of them. That was one of the buildings, and then
I think I've seen some of that. I thought it was around here, but I never.
it was around here, but with this kind of,
Yeah.
then we built that one and
I did see those plans, Judge. Anyway, just purely my opinion, I don't think having a bunch of small buildings is as efficient as having a bigger building.
No, I agree.
Yeah, so.
I agree.
I have approached Texas, they don't want no buildings.
I know.
They got enough, they
Well, but there again, they come under our state representatives, and our state representatives could put pressure on them to do that.
What's your criteria? Who been in his office? You know that. I mean, he did.
Yeah.
If there's general fund saved it up and they had plans to do something, why do we even talk about doing something like that in the future? The future is gonna run right past us.
Yeah, well, the future don't have to be like Jetson cars, because if we don't spend the money on the road, they'll
They got these cars now that don't have air in their tires.
Well,